Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Brent, and in today's video we are going to be showing you guys our brand new dungeon that we just finished up here on BBB Craft. Now this is a PvE survival with world dungeons out and about. We had some requests from some of the players that are on the server that some of the dungeons are maybe too difficult, so when you're starting off on the server, maybe you're not able to jump into a dungeon right away. So what we did was create a very small demo dungeon that is able to be completed with some of the starting gear here on the server. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and showcase how to access the dungeon, the level of equipment that you will need in order to fight your way through the dungeon, and of course, go through the dungeon with our items, just kind of showcasing how that dungeon is laid out. So if you are brand new to the channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, make it great. Hit the bell to be notified every time we release a brand new video. And of course, give this video a thumbs up, make it blue, and let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, now I started myself off with some of the basic gear that you get when you join the server. Once you join the server, you're going to be given some leather armor, which I'm going to go ahead and equip. You're also given some bread, some food, a claiming tool, and a wooden sword and a wooden pickaxe to get you started on your adventure. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk to the healer up in town right there. I don't know if it's nighttime or not, and it looks like it is nighttime, so I'm going to go ahead, hit the beds. It's going to go ahead and reset today. I always like doing dungeons during the day, that way you don't get mobbed to death by outside forces. Then we have the grief prevention wall. We have all of our ranks on the server along with what all the kits and the ranks get. Then we have the dungeon area. So on the server we have a dungeon room with warp set up to go through specific dungeons. We do have a help board as far as how to use the dungeons. You just warp to the dungeon. You can reset the dungeon by opening the reset chest, and of course this clears out the player positions back to start, clears out all the monsters in the area and the dungeon, clears all the spawners, clears all the items off the floor, resets any chests and loot and traps and any other items. It basically just kind of resets the dungeon back to the default. Now I don't know how I want to have this. Another request was to have stars, so I might change the dungeon sign here on the bottom and just put like a star level, difficulty, 1 out of 5 or 2 out of 10 or something like that. So I do want to have a display here of either the armor that you can beat the dungeon with, or maybe some sort of a star system showing how many stars of difficulty, or just having like a little difficulty and then having whether it's easy, medium, or hard. But in order to access this dungeon, we're going to go ahead and warp to the graveyard. You just click on the sign and it's going to warp you to that dungeon. Now that one is really close to the spawn point. If I look over that way from spawn, if I even just run over this way, it's actually really close to spawn. Spawn's right over there. So it's one of the earliest dungeons that you're able to hit from just going outside of the spawn point. And this is the little graveyard. There's some tombstones located outside. You can definitely see it as you run across this place. All the dungeons all have sort of an outside layout to kind of showcase that they're there and not just some hidden dungeon that you find. Now all dungeons have a little chest outside of them, as was kind of told about in the help section inside spawn point. And then all we need to do is open the chest and it resets our positions, resets all the dungeons, the loot. And I do have the difficulty here written as easy, so I don't know if I want to have it like this or change it to a star system, or just kind of have the armor stand out front showcasing what the difficulty of it is. Now this one isn't meant to be hard. You're supposed to be able to go through it pretty easily, fight your way through the monsters, beat down the spawners pretty easy. It's not going to spawn extremely fast. Again, I wanted to design a dungeon that was able to be completed with just some of the basic starter gear. That way if you are started on the server, you want to go ahead and knock out a quick little instance and check out what the server is about. You guys are just able to run in and knock out that dungeon. We are planning a PvP arena. It's primarily a PvP server. So there's some items in here. We'll get some stone, which is an upgrade from our current. We'll go ahead and use the stone axe versus the sword. And you know, we have a few items in here, so it's a few items just to get all players going. It's all randomized as far as what the loot is. So go ahead and take out the spawners, and you can see here I'm chopping down that spawner with a wooden axe. And this place isn't designed to spawn like crazy. You're able to go through, just take out some of the mobs, take out some of the spawners, kind of work your way through the dungeon, and take out the little graveyard zombie. And I did have a suggestion in my past video to add a Denzen dungeon plugin. I did look it over. It actually looks pretty cool as far as the customize, you know, what you're able to customize within the plugin. So it could be something I will check out. And then also there was Mystic Mobs, which is another plugin that looked pretty cool. I'll have to play around with these offline before I kind of add them to the server, as I don't want to overload the server at the moment. I would definitely, our goal here is to definitely add more to the server, but at the moment, just because of, you know, we have to level up the server a little bit before we kind of move in. I don't think I can break iron. I believe if I break iron with a wooden pickaxe, it'll just kind of break the iron and not actually give it to me. So I'm not going to do that at the moment. Maybe we can find some sort of a stone pickaxe from one of these chests. So far it's not too difficult. As you can see, we're just kind of moving our way through the dungeon, kind of clearing through it. I did like this dungeon design. I thought of, you know, what does a cemetery look like? You know, there's gravestones everywhere, especially if you're down in the crypts, which is, this is kind of designed to be sort of like a crypt-like. You're kind of going down. It's a little bit moist down in the crypts. Another axe there, a couple books, a couple apples, and some bowls, and a book, shovel there. And then we have our last one on this floor. And again, iron block down there if you have a stone pickaxe. And then it's a drop down. And there's quite a few zombies down here just because I was kind of close to the spawner there. But luckily I have access to the vines here, so I can just kind of hang out on the vines, chop these guys down. Once this get to a decent amount, I can go ahead and finish off that guy, run in here, chop this last one down. There we go. Take out this last guy. Get the dungeon chest. Now this one kind of leveled up, so this is the last dungeon chest within this area. So you do have a chance at getting some chainmail gear or some iron level gear. So already kind of starting off, if you are brand new on the server going through this dungeon initially, you'd already have, you know, a nice iron axe. You'd have some scale level gear and a few other items there to kind of help you on your way. And then all dungeons, at the very end of them, another suggestion that was put in from a player is that players aren't able to warp out of here. You're not able to go back to your spawn. You're not able to go back to your home from within a dungeon. But you can either run back out of the dungeon and leave the region, or at the very end of the dungeon, there are warps that let you go back to spawn. So now that this dungeon is complete, maybe I'll have another sign that exits to the front of the dungeon possibly, but because all dungeons do have a warp from spawn, you know, it's easy just to kind of put them at the spawn point. And there you go, we completed the dungeon. It wasn't too difficult. We were able to go through there with our basic leather gear. We didn't have to eat any food. We just kind of took it pretty slow paced, and we came out of there with some better equipment. You know, we have some some items as far as arrows now. We have some coal, some feathers, some new sets of equipment, and some rabbit stew. So, you know, going in through a dungeon like that initially, it's going to give you a few little items and kind of showcase what we have here on the server. So I'm going to have some sort of a system kind of set up that lets players know that when they're joining the server, you know, the graveyard is able to be completed at the leather level. That's kind of why I put the leather stand there. Now, as you kind of move into some of the upper dungeons, some of these are a little bit harder, or they have more mobs. So here, for example, if we reset this one looks really cool. I've definitely fixed this one up so it kind of stands out from the rest of the trees in the area. So if you're running through this forest out in the world, and you come out of the forest and you see this tree, it looks like someone's base, but then you're able to kind of run in, and it says that it's a dungeon zone. So it says good luck on your dungeon. And here you're able to kind of go down into the dungeon, and I've showcased this one in the past as far as how this one kind of goes, but this one, in order to complete it, you are going to need a little bit higher level gear, at least iron level or higher. because it definitely makes it a lot easier. Whoop, that guy's just peeking at me. And I'm pretty sure if I took it pretty slow, I could get through the first floor pretty easy. But as soon as I went down further into the down portion of the dungeon, it would definitely the mobs would definitely become more of a challenge, as there's different levels, not levels, but there's different types of mobs. You know, there'll be skeletons, there'll be zombies about there, there'll be more traps. So we had just hit a trap on the floor there that shot up some zombies. You know, there's spiders down there. So as you progress down into this dungeon, it's definitely going to be a little bit harder. But if you're looking for some of the easier loot, then you can always just kind of hang up towards the start of the dungeons, knock out what you are able to, collect some of the loot from the earlier dungeons. You know, they're all great at the start, you know, but you kind of push your way through the dungeons as far as you can go, and then once you can't go any further without really having to sustain a lot of damage, you just kind of turn around, make your way back, and if no one else is there, you can always just continue doing the dungeons just for some fun loot that is available there. So that is pretty much these dungeons. I'm going to go ahead and go back to spawn here. Whoop, can't use spawn from here. So in that case, I would just have to run back out and leave the region by just exiting over this way. Once I've left, then I could just go and type /spawn, and that would take me over to my spawn. Now, we are adding PvP to the server as well. You know, it is a PvE first server, so you're not going to be out there in the wild getting slaughtered and killed by other players, but we are adding in some PvP elements. You know, that we're going to be adding an arena. I'm going to make a video with my son. I know he loves the PvP, so we do have a sign here as far as warping you to the arena that we have made in the meantime. Now, here it is, our little makeshift arena. Now, if you do die in here for whatever reason, you don't actually lose any experience, you don't lose any items. So if you die out in the world, you're going to lose your experience, you're going to drop your items on the ground. But this is just sort of a little mixed, you know, setup arena. Eventually, we're going to have a different point where it's going to be either like a square on the outside, where you'll have a ring around the outside where there's going to be no PvP, where you can kind of get ready and maybe have a player charge in from one side, the other player charge in from the other, battle it out in the middle. And if you die, it's fine. You don't lose any experience or items, and then you can just kind of run back out or die and then repeat the process. Just kind of having fun with your friends. That's what it was designed for, because that's what my son likes. He likes to play. He likes to challenge himself in PvP, but he doesn't like losing all of his items on the ground or his experience. So we definitely set this place up. In the future, we're going to be definitely, this is our next place to kind of build out, and this is located up in the sky. So it's a bit of a sky arena, which I think is going to be kind of a little cool design. But that is going to be it for this specific video. Let me know down in the comment section below, what are some other things you'd like to see on some dungeon servers. Now, of course, this is sort of a vanilla survival first, and then there are dungeons located out there. That way it does give players a sense of the survival portion of the game, but you're also able to travel out, get some experience with doing dungeons out in the open world. And of course, you know, we're going to be adding more. I have had more suggestions to add either, you know, different types of dungeons and suggestions for these dungeons. And then some of these dungeons in the back, oh, that's something I didn't showcase last time. So the dungeons that have a unique item to them, so Swamp Time has the Hunter's Raven Claw Bow, and then we have the Icy Tower, which has the Reaper's Toll. So we have this chest right here, so you're able to see all the dungeon items that you're able to find. So the Hunter's Raven Bow has just it's a bow you can find out in the dungeon. It has Flame, Infinity, Power 3. And then we have the Reaper's Toll, which is just a, oh, that damage on there. Okay, so I have to adjust that. But you can definitely find a better one. Let's see. I can't adjust that anyways. I'm not an operator at the moment. But yeah, all of our items are going to be showcased within the chest. The dungeon chest is going to show items that are unique to the dungeons and can be found within them. So I think that'll kind of give a fun element to all the dungeons. As you explore different dungeons, you'll find maybe some armor over here, some leggings over here that increase your speed, you know, the armor that increases your health, pickaxes or little items here that increase, you know, the damage on them. The base stats are increased. or bows that are just kind of fun. You don't have to craft them yourself. They're just kind of found in the dungeon. So we're definitely going to be adding more dungeons, adding some unique items to them. And then with the suggestions from other comments as far as adding other plugins and creating some custom mobs, we're definitely going to be adding that into the future here on our server. This server is about 2 months old, so if you guys are interested in checking it out, go down below. It is play.vbmecraft.tk if you guys are interested in checking it out. I will have links down in the description below and also in the comment section as far as some information here on the server. And we do also have a Discord server as well, so if you guys are interested in just kind of joining, saying hello, any other comments or questions, you guys can join in there as well. So that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. Of course, if you are brand new to the channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, make it gray, hit the bell to be notified every time I release a brand new video, and of course, give this video a thumbs up, make it blue, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.